Welcome to Straight Up Reviews. There's no bullshit beyond the sign. The Final Destination movies. Often considered the best or worst franchises, this series tried to make the most common concept of our lives act as the ultimate serial killer, as well as prove that Tony Todd doesn't have to do anything to scare the living crap out of you. However, up until the fifth movie, much of the sequels have had a bad reputation as being nothing more than a gore fest meant to kill underdeveloped characters. For those unfamiliar with the story, here's a brief summary. Spoilers ahead. A group of students are on the airplane Flight 180 en route to Paris on a class trip. One of them, Alex Browning, sees a vision of them dying a horrible death, which causes him to panic as well as get him, his fellow students, and a teacher thrown off the plane. The airplane explodes exactly how Alex envisioned it, and due to it, he is wanted with extreme interest by the FBI as they don't believe his visions are true and believe he or one of the other students intentionally blew up the plane. To make matters worse, one of the people he envisioned dying is killed in a bizarre accident that was made to look like suicide. They meet William Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd, a creepy mortician who has a very unique knowledge about death. He claims that death hates being cheated and is claiming each person that was meant to die in Alex's vision. So naturally, it's a race against time for Alex to find the rest of the students before death comes for them. And it all goes down from here as the sequels come. I won't go into detail about some of the sequels because it's the same damn pattern. One sees a vision, tries to save the others. He or she seems to succeed until he or she and the survivors get it worse than anyone else. The main problem with the sequels, aside from the underdeveloped characters, stems from one simple concept. They treat the Grim Reaper like he's a serial killer that gives us the false hope that he could be stopped, which is stupid because death is inevitable. Come on, what did you expect, them finally beating death and becoming immortal out of the Highlander? Though that would be awesome if they meet someone even death couldn't touch. However, it was not until 5 that turned it all around. For those unfamiliar with 5, here's a skivvy. The same thing happens like the other 4, with a few new plot elements. The main one, as explained yet again by Bloodworth, is that in order to survive longer against death, the survivors must kill someone in order to take their lifespan, which spawns a lot of great storytelling because on top of the paranoia elements, there's also the moral dilemma. Should we take a life to save our own? Many of the characters, even the victims that deserve to die, even have standards in regards to it. All except one, Peter Friedkin, who actually disgustingly figures out not only who to kill, but also why in his own mind that they deserve to die. So not only do they have the remaining survivors have to worry about nature's greatest force, but also someone so driven to stop it that he doesn't care who he hurts in the process. However, as proven like the other attempts to cheat death, it's only temporary. But unlike the other movies, which are simply just stupid, this one had a very simplified yet justifiable reason to why it was a bad idea. Aside from the moral implications, he who inherits a person's life also inherits their death. The only reason why Sam survived this long is because not only did he inherit Peter's life and death, but also Agent Block's life and death. And it wasn't long until the lifespan ran out, and because he technically died twice, he gets it worse. This movie later turns out to be a prequel to the first movie, as he and Molly are passengers of Flight 180. Another great thing about this movie is, unlike most of the cannon fodder main characters, Sam knows when to fold. As the plane is going down in flames, he makes one last attempt to save Molly, and when he fails it, he accepts his fate and goes down in flames with his eyes closed in one final scream. I love this subversion because he is the only character throughout this entire fucking franchise that is more human about death than most people. He does try to avoid death as much as possible, but when he's not doing that, he goes on with the rest of his life. He works, he tries to make the most out of a bad tragedy, and even subtle things like a romantic time with his girlfriend. Even his death, while tragic, was the least scary, but not in a bad way. Sam was pretty much life and death personified. He tries to live it while he can, and is naturally scared of death, but not in the paranoia level. But in the more cautious level, and to top it off, his death, while in real life could have lasted only a few seconds, since the fire pretty much vaporized him, was stretched out longer, which tells us that a few minutes dying, or a few seconds dying, could seem like an eternity in the long run. However, once it's over with, it's a relief. Hell, his scream wasn't even in fear. It was more or less his way of saying, "Alright, fine, you got me. Just let's get this over with." Welcoming death like an old friend or a family member that caught him during a game of hide-and-seek Personally, I hated the Final Destination series because they made a mockery of death, as if he was nothing more than a monster in the likes of Freddy or Jason. However, 5 managed to give death the dignity he deserved, while still making him scary. There have been talks about 2 more sequels, and I say good luck. I say good luck both literally and sarcastically, because if you the creators are not going to find a way to top off 5 without screwing it up as you did 3 or 4, then you might as well just let the Reaper have your franchise. As usual, debate, argue, and let me know what I missed. Stay tuned for more.